But yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy. Nice. What will he do to surprise Raynor? And Clem, MaxPax, and the like coming in as well. So an exciting day, mate.
I mean, the last time Clem basically got a free win right off the get-go, killed way too many probes against MaxPax. So this time around, I assume that he's going to have to work for it a little bit harder. RotterdaM does not play on Pride of All Towers, which is literally the only map that he's dropped in the entire season. So I also believe that that could go very different. All we need to do is win one of the two TVTs in the beginning. And this man, I mean, after that miraculous victory against Zest on Blackbird, I don't know if you saw that, but that was beautiful, mate. I couldn't believe it. All he has to do is make us proud and make us happy one time here on Curious Minds. Apparently, he just woke up. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that works because he's in Beijing, and I believe it's 6 or 7 p.m. over there, but I guess he's been battling deep into the night for the King of Battles qualifiers and whatnot. Let's do it. One time, matey. In the top left side of Curious Minds, we're looking at the main base of my third round draft pick. The best Chinese StarCraft 2 player of all time. It's time.
Well, his opponent down here just came from getting, I believe, eliminated by his Warpig's teammate in the third place match at Tasteless LAN. He's currently playing there at Tasteless LAN. And let's see if he can bring his A game, because he has been on the grind the last few days. This is Good Game Gamers Warpig. It is Dream.
Dream is the man who had a mighty fine Into Extreme Masters Katowice too, and definitely had a couple of very impressive TVTs in that tournament. But all I remember was Berlingrad. He's very good at Berlingrad. Curious Minds pick, completely different battleground. And if you said he already lost in the Tasteless tournament, he's probably not feeling it at this point. He's a couple of bottles of soju deep. I think I prefer time waking up with a coffee over your drunk pro gamer.
What can I say though, dude? I'm hoping for the slow game to be real. I think time's a bit more dangerous in the aggressive game. Dream, on the other hand, I'm like, oh yeah, build 10 command centers, make Vikings and Ravens, dude. He's so comfortable in the late game. And let's be real, time is not. I finally went back actually earlier today and was casting and watching some games of Time vs Clem from like a month ago when they faced off in the weekly of the EU. And it was like watching two, just aggro players try to do what they think macro looks like. It was like not great from either of them. No offense to Clem either. I love you, buddy. But him and Time did not look great in the end game.
No, but in Time's defense, though, those games were played on the European server, mate. And he's playing those games from Los Angeles, I think, back then. He was still in America. So that's obviously like Time with 150 plus ping, playing on Europe, winning 2 out of 3 games in the grand final against Clem. Honestly, I saw that as a victory for Time. I was like, you may have lost the best of 5, but in my book, that's a victory.
I guess I was in my ultra critical mode because I've come from watching so many like Maru late games recently. When I see two players that look a little bit like a cat that's jumped in the bathtub, just kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? They looked a little confused about how to play it, but I think that was obviously it's a weekly cup. It's one game, or 2 games. I think were especially three of the maps were a little awkward. I don't think that's going to happen again. Dream, on the other hand, I still see him as just being very good the longer it goes. Obviously, you mentioned Katowice, dude. The long series with Maru is so darned close, and it really could have gone either way. They had like a 2000 atmospheres game that I think went for like 40 minutes plus, and it was just so much movement. So I really do have faith in it in that stage. But the early game of TVT, I'm always just glued to the screen going, what's going to happen next? Because there's a lot of reaction speed, there's a lot of interaction. Things can go awry super quick.
And one of the most memorable games, I think, of the entire IM Katowice was Dream against Cure on Berlingrad, where he was under a ridiculous amount of pressure, and he just stayed so calm. There were like tanks almost in range of his orbital. The entire army was there, and he just kind of looked at it, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. That little line right there where you're at, that's okay. And he basically made perfect call after perfect call. I think it was one of the most impressive things of the entire tournament. So that makes this scary for Time, but obviously we did know if we sent Time out on Curious Minds, there was a good chance that he's going to have to play some TVT. And hopefully after that miraculous victory over Zest, the man is flying at this point.
So what was the Zest victory? And I actually didn't see that.
The most Zest thing ever, mate. Like Zest up 2 bases, up 18 workers, up double forts, up and upgrades, attacked into Time, got EMP'd, lost his entire army. That's basically what it was.
What tournament was that?
It was this one. It was me against Benny and the boys. Like, you'll laugh if you see that game.
Right.
Basically, in the first 7 minutes, nothing went well for Time until Zest decided to attack him and threw away a pretty miraculous lead. And yeah, somehow did not manage to get another army up because Time just kept on stimming. Did lose a bunch of SCVs. But yeah, that happened a few days ago. That was the end of Benny and the boys. The reigning champ is no more. Let's see what happens today. No matter what happens in our match, Pig, even though I really hope my boys win, I'm super excited for today. I know it's going to be a glorious day of StarCraft. And first blood always feels good. Take that, Reaper, man.
Yeah, trying to hunt him down his time. He will see the Reaper and the Hellion going off in this direction. He's going to intercept that Dream, will get a bit of scouting, but not much more than that. Doesn't even see the third command center. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
I don't hate it so far. We're kind of even in workers. We have the same amount of Ravens. The one thing that Dream does have, of course, is a little tank advantage. But Dream doesn't strike me as a hyper-aggressive Terran. So hopefully Time will be able to capitalize on the fact that his third CC is a whole lot quicker. And maybe that can catapult us nicely into the mid-game. If nothing crazy happens in the next minute or so, and like these Ravens don't find way more success than they're supposed to find, I think this is a pretty good start for my boy.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a nice little soft contain, 2 Cyclones out there. The tanks and the Marines coming forward for Dream will be able to just push forward ever so slowly. Don't want to give too many units away, though. Those Cyclones, very dangerous. The Ravens are waiting for the Raven run by, but that is honestly one of the most dangerous maneuvers in general in TVT. And actually, Dream sees the army moving out, and he's shoving on forwards. Oh, Time's coming north to intercept him.
Good pull on the SCVs, at least, in the natural, so we only lost a single one. We're going to take a bit of damage on the depot, not important. These armies getting dangerously close to each other. I think we're blocking our own orbital, by the way, with the tank. We've lost a few more SCVs in the main base, but once more, we do have a much quicker third orbital. Raven is going to get picked off by double Cyclone. You got to love that. Those other turrets won't accomplish a whole lot. So one of the 2 Ravens went down for 4 SCVs. And if Time didn't block his own orbital, that thing would have already landed at this point. It is a bit tricky though. Maybe we can, I want to say, maybe we can send that orbital towards 9 o'clock. Because these tanks are going to be really annoying.
He doesn't seem to realize that the Dream is up there. And I'm a little worried that he just goes across the map and kills Dream, honestly, right now. Because I don't think Dream can defend a counterattack at all. This may go a bit of a base trade, but Time, he's hanging out. He's looking to come back on this Dream. It does not have as much info as Time. Time's looking to trap this.
Okay, Time needs to make up his mind on what he wants to do. Time is going to go for it. Here come the auto turrets. One Matrix goes down from the auto turrets. Our tanks are going to siege up as well. Seems like a pretty good fight for my boy Time, as he's going to wipe the floor with the ground army of Dream. We have saved the orbital too. We have picked up every single Raven. That's my boy right there. Units lost, resource tap. Dream has lost 2.2k more than Time did. Oof. And now Dream is going to have a harder time securing his own turret. Come on, the boys, Piggy. We're awake.
Dude, Dream is so far behind right now. Defending this third is an absolute pipe dream. He's going to have to try to go forward, but there are still Ravens. An auto turret goes down. Time's going to take out that front tank. Command center landing there just because why the heck not? But it is 100% going to be falling to these Viking Marine. He's got his own Vikings coming forward. Maybe with a repair he can save it.
Yeah, but even if he can save it, he's still going to have a tough time on the ground. We're going to pull a couple of SCVs as well. SCVs will get in range of the tank, but won't actually kill the tank. Dream is going to lose his final tank, and at this point, Dream really doesn't have that much going. Come on, Time, just siege. Take it easy, mate. Take it easy. You've done enough. We're doing really good. Let's just wait until we have a couple of extra Marines show up, so it makes it impossible. Okay, this is so unnecessary, by the way. We're doing so good, but I mean, he just wants to end it. He just wants to see Kalazur take on Cure. By the looks of it, is this going to work out? This is a little bit sketch, if you ask me. Like, why are we getting so ahead of ourselves, Piggy? It's not bad, but okay. Why?
The Viking does end up killing the tank, and even though it is a bit unnecessary, it is going to be a win nonetheless. And that is why you do not throw away Raven energy unless you've already got a little bit of momentum going in the match. Dream trying to be a bit too fancy, a bit too aggressive. And the moment he'd already lost some Ravens and so on there to push as deep as he did, ooh, Time had not spent a single bit of Raven energy. And I'm telling you, the patient Raven is always the one that wins the dance.
Yeah, I was very worried because at first, like you said, I don't think Time was totally aware of the fact that the entire army of Dream was there. It seemed like he was, all right, the Ravens were a bit annoying, now it's my time to be annoying, and suddenly his orbital gets shot. He's like, oh! And he sends his army towards the center, and it did feel like we were going for a bit of a base trade, but then he saw the army of Dream moving towards his natural too, and he's like, nah, I don't really want to do that because he's already here. I still have to go halfway across the map. I'm going to turn around. I know you use some Raven energy. Time gets a great fight. And like you said, Ravens win those early game fights. Obviously, we had some more energy. Great Matrix, great auto turrets. What a lovely way to start the playoffs today, Piggy.
Indeed, indeed. It is very good for you guys. Not the greatest for us, but at the same time, this was one of the matches which I was a little bit more marginal on last time they played as well. You know, I could be like, well, Dream won last time they played, so he must win again. No, that's not how StarCraft works. It was always going to be a bit of a marginal one, so it's a very good start for your team. If we won this match, I would have been ridiculously confident, I think, going for the rest of the series. But now, definitely, like you said, as long as you guys win one of the first 2 TVTs, it's going to be a match. So what server's up next?
I think we're going to NA. Oh, no, wait. Actually, we're going... Yeah, because to NA. Yeah, Rain or Nice, right?
It's Rain on Nice, yeah. And then we'll do the Cure match versus Kellezer after that one, I believe. That's it. So it should be NA, and then we've got RotterdaM a laser later on. Clem, MaxPax, and RotterdaM a laser to finish the day. So it'll be all EU after 2 NA matches. That should be good.
Kellezer with server advantage over Cure as well. You sure you feel good about that one, Piggy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Where's Kellezer at the moment? Netherlands?
Yep, he's currently actually surrounded by your boys, Laser and Clem. They're all gathering up at the Team Liquid headquarters. Skillers is obviously there still too. I think Mana is there as well. I saw some videos of him playing League of Legends, I believe. But yeah, Laser's Instagram has been a nice little sneak peek behind the scenes. And Kellezer is there too. He always lives in the Netherlands, but doesn't normally live in Utrecht. But he decided to go to the Team Liquid headquarters. The boys just having some bootcamp, I guess, for a bit of King of Battles, bit of the Dream Mag Masters coming up. And obviously, Diego didn't want to win the Caster Civil War all by himself. He's like, Roddy, it's a bit hard to go to Zuidland. Can I celebrate it in Utrecht? I was like, of course, Diego. You can do it. Just make sure that you have a PC and you can get a couple of games out of the way.
Indeed. Well, apologies for me holding up us joining, by the way. There's a little thing called trying to log into StarCraft from Australia, which usually is a multiple exit the game, reopen the game, exit the game, reopen the game, wait for 45 seconds on the connecting to Blizzard services page to finally have it load. So I apologize. If we do need to start without me, that's fine. I can always cast off the preview, but it should be working momentarily. So, oh, it's finally letting me in. There we go.
Why is Cats already spying on us, Wardy? I want to know this. I see Paolo Vichara in the lobby. What is happening over here? What is this sneak peek?
Oh my God.
Is he a super fan? Did he buy his way into this lobby?
Get him out. Get him out. He's cheating. He's stealing the replays. He's watching control groups. Get him out of here now. How dare he? Obviously, I believe we're all allowed to cast any matches, but I think as first place currently in the league, we should probably take that privilege away from him.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. I know Wardy has been super chill about everything, but I didn't even know that I was able to also join other lobbies if I wanted to. And I guess I'll stick around to see the Grubber Lover Dub-Dubs and Wardy duke it out as well as I wait for my match in the following round. No, don't get too ahead of myself. But great start, and obviously now it's time for my first round draft pick to continue our great start. He does not have server preference. I've actually been kind of mean to Rainer. Every single time I've had like a server preference for one of the matchups, I always gave it to everyone besides Rainer. And he told me, hey dickhead, it's time that you win a Tonkos for once. I was like, come on, you don't need server preference, mate. Just roll with it.
So we've got some nice predictions going on my channel for the Kellezer Cure match. So just getting that one sorted really quickly. Let's get into the game. This one is, of course, the underdog story in this match, mate. Your guy's a bit of a beast up in the top right, eh?
Yep, in the top right side, we're looking at the main base. The man went 5-2 in the regular season. Only losses to Bjorn and Maru. He is obviously the one that's supposed to give us the 2-0 lead here. We expect nothing else. The team is counting on this to be a guaranteed win. It is the Italian Stallion, the runner-up of the World Championships of StarCraft 2 in 2022. It is Raynor.
And his opponent in the bottom left side, a man who was raised in the darkest, meanest streets of StarCraft. That's right. the Taiwan server, playing against Haas, a brutal father who taught him in the ways of cheese from a young age. This is nice. You imagine growing up with that, Roddy? Imagine with your older brother just hassing you every game and every strategy, every game you play. He's just cheesing you out, man.
It's a bad influence, mate. That is a bad influence. There are very few people on this planet that have played more games of StarCraft than Nice. However, how often does he really make it into the double digits? You know, that's kind of where things become problematic. I just think back of that one miraculous best of 3 where I think he 2-0'd broke at the DreamHack Masters in Stockholm. That does make me a little nervous. I've always kind of been a fan of Nice, and I do think he's a little bit underrated by a lot of our European audience, because we often think like, oh, Nice and Has, like, yeah, they can do a couple of all-ins, but they don't really know how to play straight up. Well, I actually think if you would take Nice and you'd put him in Germany or the Netherlands, and he would compete in every single European tournament, he'd have a lot of good deep runs. Like, I think a very regular top 16 appearance in the European scene, maybe even a top 8 once in a blue moon. But of course, that should still not be enough to take out Rainier.
Definitely the underdog story. And I mean, the last one, of course, a lot of people would remember my famous coaching in that match where I said, hey, Nice, you're playing Raynor, maybe proxy like a gateway. And he actually went and proxied a pylon and tried to do some crazy adept shenanigans. And it actually kind of caught Raynor off guard and surprised him a bit. So, I mean, obviously, I think he's going to slow things down with his Stargate opening a little bit compared to that time. Be a little bit more chill in the opening at least, but I still think, you know, high chance of trying to throw some craziness out there. And what I've really been enjoying in a lot of players play recently, I don't know how popular it is on the Asian server, but oh, nice, he's attacking the rocks. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, slow links, not really going to get a whole lot done, but at least Raynor is going to get a very cheeky little scout off, and we're also going to see that it's Oracle first. If you zoom in on the Stargate, you can kind of see what is being produced. The other day, man, I had like a meltdown. I was playing a game and I'm like, is that a Void Ray or a Phoenix? And I had to look at the Stargate 6 times and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, how old am I?
That's the one time I'm constantly zooming in, dude. I'm like, is it a carrier? Is that a carrier? It's always a Void Ray. Every time I think it's a carrier, it's a Void Ray.
Yeah. Well, Raynor will know that this is an... Wow, he's even going to activate Pulsar Beam? Okay. Well, that is pretty lovely. Now we really don't have to worry about this Oracle. Raynor's going to fire up a few more links. I guess these are just safety links. 14 links. I think Raynor feels, with that Oracle already using some of its energy on the defensive side of the map, maybe Raynor can get a very easy cancel on a potential third Nexus of Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. He does go back to droning. I think this is a very safe number of Zerglings, and I think Raynor, if he knows anything about Nice, it's that Nice loves to just attack. Adepts, right? Like, he's actually really containing himself this game is Nice, and I don't mind it. His third is a little slow. One thing is that Nice almost never takes a third before 4 minutes. But on one side, I'd say that's not quite as greedy, and that's a bummer because he could have more economy. On the other hand, it's really hard to tell if he's actually following up with something cheesy or not. Like some Protoss players, you see the third's a bit late, it's always a quick Glaives behind the Stargate opening, right? Like every time. But with Nice, you never really know what's coming after it.
Okay, that Oracle is all the way on the top left side, so these Adepts are actually in a little bit of trouble, and if these Adepts fall, then that Probe should fall, so Raynor actually gets quite a bit here, with only just a couple of links. No, come on! One more hit, well, two more hits, but
Shields.
I would like to see him pick off that second Adept, but it's okay, it's still not bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of Zerglings, though. It does keep the Oracle back, and of course, Raynor hasn't taken any direct damage, but now he needs to actually drone hard to say, hey, look, if you're not actually killing stuff, I got to do something. Now, these Adepts do have their pylon spotted. I don't think committing with them's the greatest idea, but hey, he's killed so many Zerglings. Why not? You know, just see what you can get here. The Crete spread and the vision is so good for Raynor right now, though. So we're not really going to find too much, and he just kind of shades next to where he already was. Only going to get a bit of drone, you know, mining time, a single drone, one Zergling, an Evo chamber block. None of this is crazy damage.
No, but I gotta say, that's a little more than I expected from two Adepts that were revealed almost at the Zelnaga Watchtower, right? They actually, I would be okay with that if I was Nice and be like, well, I expected them to get absolutely nothing. Instead, I got a drone and I saw 17 drones not mining for a solid 10 seconds. It's the little victories, especially when your follow-up is double Stargate. Now, Nice is going to make a lot of Phoenixes, something I'm somewhat familiar with, Piggy. He has banked up a absolute buttload of them. I don't think think Reina is necessarily expecting the mass Phoenix play. This could get annoying. The only thing I'm kind of worried about here is that this turns into one of these games where the Phoenixes really blindside Reina. They kill a couple of queens, they kill a lot of overlords, and then Reina is supply blocked. Reina is forced to build a lot of sport crawlers, and by the time that he's ready for the Phoenixes, he dies to something on the ground. Now he's even making a couple of roaches. I don't think, if Reina would know how many Phoenix Nice has, he wouldn't be building those roaches right now. That makes very little sense to me.
He'd be making queens, drones, spores, more drones, because you know you're going to take damage. Now, he's got a lot of queens, 8 already, 9 now. So it's a lot of transfuse energy. Can the Phoenix actually fight that head on? I feel like it's always very dicey fighting queens when there's this much transfuse around. One of the Phoenix is already very low, but only 1 spore in the main. He very well may just dive on the drones. And Nice being very cautious so far.
Yeah, it's double spore in the main as well. I didn't actually see that at first. We have a single spore at the third, and now a couple of overlords are going to take a beating. One Phoenix does go down now with a bit of target firing. We're going to get a second Phoenix, and that's exactly what Raynor does. So it's good to see that Raynor is awake. 1 queen, or 2 queens actually, do get caught out all the way to the bottom side of the creep. Raynor, take it easy. When it comes to the initial fight, I don't think without +1 air weapons that is a good fight to take. It's just going to take a little bit too long to kill a single one of those queens. And we all know what's going to happen. Transfuse, transfuse, transfuse. I think Nice did the best thing there and just tried to find a exposed middle line. Okay, I don't know. This is kind of kamikaze pick. Oh my god, he's got so many Phoenixes. He's going head in. He's going to go for all the overlords now. Raynor is definitely going to be a little bit supply blocked, but at least managed to queue up 12 extra drones before losing those overlords.
That is something indeed. Phoenix are going to find an undefended 4th for now. Rallying Phoenix have not been controlled too well, but he's only lost 3 of them so far. So the Phoenix have not traded poorly. The problem, of course, is that Nice transition is non-existent. Like the Robos are just halfway done now. And we're up against a Zerg in Raynor who's just gone Hive. And interestingly, he just cancelled a Spire and made a Hydra Den. So he's thinking about making Lurkers. I think he's saying, look, I can't defend the Broodlords, like even the Phoenix, like off creep. But if I make Lurkers, along with Vipers, right, Hydras as well, I can kind of just counter the Phoenix and counter the Zealot Archon that's probably going to come behind it on the ground. And it feels like, you know, Reynor's just playing very safe.
Yeah, I think one more reason could be as well that after this many Phoenixes, Raynor probably expected just carriers, right? It was like nothing but air upgrades and then some carriers, and then Nice is going to try to A-move him. And then obviously you want to have some Corruptors because relying on Hydras to kill carriers, it can work with some very good Viper control, but the Zergs will tell you that's not the play. These Phoenixes are really just going for it. This is definitely a lot of damage, but it's safe to say that the Phoenix investment is massive too, so this is not quite as dramatic for Raynor as it looks. 16 drones have gone down so far for 5 Phoenixes. Now a few more drones are gonna fall. I mean, I'm glad that Raynor managed to make those 14 drones before. We've got Hive now, so we can even make a Viper, 1 Parasitic Bomb, and your heart is going to stop beating for a little bit if you're a Phoenix player. I don't know if you've ever been on the Phoenix side of things, Piggy, but it's so hard to figure out which Phoenix is affected by Parasitic Bomb.
I mean, I've played Mutas vs Vipers many a time, and I think it's a very similar sort of dance. So you're like, oh my god, please no. Infestors there are a little worrying. Fungal's quite powerful, but getting the Infestor kills. I think, you know, anything to trade off against these late game units with your early game units, it's pretty good for you as Nice, and it does feel like with 85 probes, Nice should be able to get a maxed out carrier army. The question, of course, is, can he contest Raynor? Now, Raynor's army feels still super mid-game, like early late game oriented. I don't know. I kind of wish the Spire was out, like you said, to get Corruptors against the carriers and that sort of thing. And I think the Broodlords is the better long-term tech. I'm not sure. Does Raynor have a window where he can just shove right now before enough carriers are out?
That's going to be very hard. I'm with you. I'm just very happy to see that +2 air weapons has not been started yet, because if these carriers would show up with +2, I'd be absolutely mortified. +1 carriers, they can struggle a little bit with Hydras and Queens and whatnot. But I think Raynor scouted and he saw, all right, double Robo. So I think he was a lot more worried about Immortals and a couple of Zealots A-moving him. Now Raynor gets another scout up and he's like, all right, so you still went carriers in the end. Now, the first attack, though, is going to be hard. And at this point, don't forget, Vipers are king. Like, Raynor could absolutely make more Vipers than he currently has, because every abduct is going to hurt so much on these carriers. And there's not a whole lot that Nice can do about it with his current army.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to Phoenix dive, but you've got Mass Queen Transfuse, Fungal, Parasitic Bomb. These are all very dangerous. The Phoenix aren't the most valuable unit, so I think almost you're happy as Nice if you can just trade all the Phoenix away for that. But oh man, those Vipers are right there. Nice, you got to be careful, bro.
One Viper is going to take a lot of damage, but a Queen that's all the way back on creep is actually going to transfuse it. So can we get a carrier kill? Carriers are so tanky. Battery overcharge is not going to save the carrier. A couple of Novas go forward. 3 Lurkers go down, but both carriers got picked off. And if I was Reina now, I'd say just get a few more Vipers, man. The Vipers are so godlike if they don't have any high Templars. And Nice is even going for a couple of defensive Tempests, which I don't think is a bad call, because Tempests build a lot quicker than carriers, and waiting for extra carriers to show up right now is risky. These Purification Novas, though, could be hell, as Reina tries his best to save one of these Lurkers. Nice is playing a good game, man. Like, for what is supposed to be our guaranteed win, our free win, I think Nice is playing a mighty fine game. But I also think that Reina is still pretty happy with where he's at.
Indeed, this creep being right out here, this position, it's a real pain. It's something where if Reina gets spores out there as well, that's a big problem. Zealot run-by runs into a lot of Hydras. The fact that there's lots of Hydras out here, it really makes me feel like, man, where is that Templar Archives? But the gas is just a bit short. Nice, adding more cannon battery on the bottom. He's going to keep doing Zealot run-bys. He will try to take those gases. It's so important he gets those up. Reynolds going to go for a little bit of a Roach Hydra run-by. But I think with a Stasis Trap and Disruptors, this is not going to be the most effective.
Nope, actually creates a bit of a force field there too. Now the Templar Archive goes down. I mean, Nice at 184 supply is working on +2 air weapons now, and that Disruptor count is honestly pretty terrifying. We're looking at 8 Disruptors, so that's going to be very good against anything that Reina has on the ground. He's going to shark around a little bit with the Vipers and Corruptors. Not going to get any guaranteed kills yet. So many cannons and batteries everywhere. I'm very impressed by Nice, man. It is really not easy to make it into a 13-minute game against Rainer, especially with the way that he played, which wasn't very standard.
Yeah.
Oracle into 1 Phoenix, into banking up a bunch of Phoenix, into double Robo, but then still going carriers later on. As the Corruptors are going to go for a little bit of a dive. We land 1 Abduct, but Rainer's really going to have to work for this one.
Indeed, and we know Reynor doesn't really like playing these slow games, but on the other hand, he is still very experienced at it. He's played against MaxPax before. He's been forced into this stage many times. Ooh, big Lurker Hydra attack on the right side. If only there was a DT Shrine, that would be a nice way to deal with this. A few of the Lurkers do go down. The battery overcharge was pretty nice as well, but there we go, getting overcharged. Corruptors diving as well, getting abducts on more and more of these units. Feels like Reyno's being incredibly cost efficient right now.
Yeah, but Reyno's losing 22 drones against just a couple of Zealots at the Triangle base. It's just 5 Zealots with charge. So while all these fights were happening, as the Novas are going to show up as well and obliterate a couple of the Hydras, I mean, Reyno did a good job with the Corruptors. Obviously did a good job breaking all the static defenses here at the bottom. But losing 23 drones at this point against 5 Zealots is a little bit excessive.
Yeah, I mean, didn't kill a base. He didn't really kill any of the probes. There's only 4 workers have gone down on the Protoss side of the map, and definitely this buys a lot of time. The Tempest upgrades are coming in. Storm's about to finish. +3 ground attack. Nice, making a very good account of himself. I'd love to see him push out and get rid of that creep on the left side of the map, but I think he's still putting the final touches on his army. And he's only got 1 carrier right now. That's one thing which I definitely address. I think you always need to have at least 3 or 4 carriers minimum, because the interceptors really mess up the enemy AI.
The one thing that I am a bit worried about for Nice, and obviously I'm happy about that as I'm ultra biased in this game, is that I do feel he's got a very random army. It's like the couple of Phoenixes, they're not really going to do that much in a straight up fight. The Tempest, they don't do that much in a straight up fight. Spellcasters are only good if they're protected, but what is really going to protect the High Templars and the Disruptors here? He doesn't really have an army that can win a fight and then run into the middle of 3 bases and just stand there and keep on winning fights against reinforcements. So I think in that way, Reynor doesn't have too much to be worried about. But one thing is for sure, Reynor's going to have a hard time getting Nice out of this game.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to kill him, but I definitely agree with what you said there. Okay, gets a Viper, very nice. Yeah, what do you add? I mean, for me, the first thing I'd do is I'd start throwing probes away pretty soon. And then I would get rid of probably the Immortals, or maybe lower the Disruptor count. I mean, it's nice to have Disruptors versus a heavy ground army, but we're going to see Reynor throw these units away. And then the Disruptors, there's going to be too many of them.
Let's get that Cybercore, Reynor. Do what I told you a long time ago. Battery overcharge has been activated, but it's not going to save that cannon. The Cybercore is taking a lot of damage. No +3 air weapons for a long time, and the Corruptors and Vipers are still going at it too. Reina able to land a couple of abducts during all of this. Sure, we're going to lose all these units, but I think getting a few kills on the Tempest, just breaching the doors wide open. One Lurker is actually still getting a couple of shots off, and the Observer is not in the right spot. Look at the High Templars, Piggy.
Oh man, the High Templar, and he's also grabbing 2 extra Tempests on top of the one he'd already grabbed early on there. That Lurker is still doing damage. 3 Disruptors for 1 Lurker. Still a Lurker in the main base as well, and I keep checking in on that units lost tab because that tells us so much. Raynor is only down 1,000 resources in the units lost, and of course mining more for most of this game. He's so active, he's keeping nice pinned back. It's looking really good for the Italian Stallion.
The one thing I'd love to see is Rainer to send literally anything to the top left side. I know that base is not currently up and running, but obviously we don't want to find ourselves in a position where Nice is suddenly able to mine from that base for quite some time, and Rainer is going to throw wave after wave into cannons and batteries. And before you know it, Rainer is like, okay, you should be broke right about now, and then he's not broke because he's got a base right next to your own base. But Rainer is doing a phenomenal job with the Corruptors and the Vipers, and at the same time, still active with an army elsewhere, always trying to create at least 2 problems at the same time. Picking up Void Ray after Void Ray, getting an Oracle is nice too. Oracles are pretty expensive, and the doors are still wide open in the natural.
Indeed, Zerglings coming in along with Hydras. Most of the Hydras pull back because they want to survive, going to target the Nexus, but it should just barely go down. Very well done. Those +2 melee Zerglings kicking it. And now the swap in the army should come for Raynor, but he's still got 16 Hydras and a Roach. So for him, it's like, okay, how can I get rid of these units in a somewhat efficient manner? Because I really don't want them anymore. 12 Queens are also chewing off a lot of Raynor's supply on the right side. Of course, they will support his Broodlords, Corruptors, Vipers very efficiently with Transfuse. And nice, he's kind of snuck this top left base, and this is so huge for him.
I know, like I'm molding a little bit over it, because Rainer even has a couple of Zerglings in the bottom right, where he's like, alright, sure, everything is going my way. I've done a good job in picking up most of your Skytals units, so now the Broodlord should be invincible against a couple of Disruptors. I just hope that Rainer doesn't take a terrible fight, as Nice is on a bit of a move command there. One Void Ray flies into the Corruptors, loses the Void, loses a couple of the Phoenixes too. How much anti-air is there left for? Okay, we still have 8 Void Rays, so that's obviously not bad. High Templars are on move command. Hello there, say goodbye to your feedbacks and storms. Still, I love it, Pick.
Dude, there's still a Phoenix alive, 9 Disruptors. This is not an army that you want right now. Nice needs to transition, but Reynold's not going to give him a chance. He's going to start picking away with Broodlord, Corruptor, Viper. There's a lot of Void Rays, though. They do mess up Broodlord, Corruptor, but they're very stacked from the Parasitic Bomb.
Yep, we're gonna abduct the mothership a couple of times. Corruptors will find it. I think Rainer is now accidentally at least going to find his base in the top left side. Pretty bad fight for Rainer. And now he sees all the cannons there too. The Void Ray still going strong. We're really running. Oh my goodness, can the Corruptors win that fight? Actually, Rainer is really struggling here. We need way more anti-air. I think it's time to sacrifice this base as a couple of Novas do fly forward. Storm's landing as well. Raynor is just going to try to take down as many units as possible. He's remaxing on 23 Corruptors, but Nice has quick warpins as well from the top left side. And Raynor is going to end up losing this base. We have a bunch of Hydras that are going to counterattack one more time. The Queens are still on creep. Raynor, run those Queens away. Anything. Oh my goodness, why is this so close?
Zealots warping in at home. Those Hydras have still not really done much because there's so much cannon battery everywhere. Corruptors are dying as they pop out. But Nice Army is not ready to fight against Mass Corruptor right now. That being said, he's now 4,000 resources ahead in the units lost. That as Hydras are still chewing up supply. And, you know, it was so weird when I was like, oh, Reynold's not going to give him time. He's going to push. But then I was like, wait, who pushes with just a handful of Broodlords and their Corruptor Viper? It was a bizarre choice by Raynor. He now runs in here looking for a good snipe. There's no Storm left there anymore. But he's going to lose a few Corruptors on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, he is buying time, and we do still have 6 Vipers now and 1 Infestor. We're gonna get a couple of Lurkers as well to get those ground units, or keep the ground units at bay. The Zealots are gonna try to find some success on the right side, but Raynor is more than ready for this. Okay, I think Raynor has successfully survived the scariest part. Man, I'm happy that Nice took his sweet time there, because at one point, Raynor really didn't have a whole lot. The only thing he had was those 23 Corruptors on the way. I am so happy that Nice didn't have those extra Zealot Stalkers and Void Rays with Flux Vein show up. Because if he just keeps going and he gets on top of the bases, or he stands in the middle of the bases of Raynor, I think Raynor would have a hard time cleaning that up.
Yeah, dude, especially if there's just, I mean, he's got only 7 gates. If there was like 14 gate, just 14 zealots, another 14 zealots walk in, whoo, you're gonna have a real big problem defending that. Even blink stalkers, you know, we often see those as the reinforced unit because they shoot up, they shoot down. They can do it. Lots of lurkers morphed in the bottom right. Roddy, I feel like it's really awkward for Zerg to split up and try to control both sides of the map at once. Raynor, you know, he's always at the cutting edge of let's try and fight in 2 places at once. Let's try and multi-prong. Let's do all that cool stuff, but it seems a little bit ambitious.
You know what I think is happening, Pig? Raynor, showman. You know, he's very close with Clem. We all know that Clem normally doesn't wake up before 4 p.m. And Raynor feels bad if Clem ends up losing to MaxPax while he's not even awake yet. You know, we don't want to have to call Gross Papa and tell him that Clem is not awake yet. We don't want to tell Diego to wake up Clem in Utrecht. So Raynor's just making sure this goes on a little while longer so Clem can actually wake up and be here in time for his match. And I think that's very sweet of Raynor.
Two Viper feedbacks do come down. Some good storms, though, to answer. These Corruptors do get a couple carriers, though. Nice there. With only 4 High Templar, we see that there's a reason why you're going to need to have 6 or 7 High Templar. Raynor is building so many Vipers.
Wow, those were really good splits in the Void Rays, by the way. Impressive stuff by Nice, because I actually feel that those Proto Sky units, they always clump up and they all kind of look alike. It's not as easy as with Vikings that have a very different color. So I always think it's kind of difficult to figure out which Void Ray, or especially Phoenixes, because they clump up like crazy, is affected by the Power Bomb. But Nice just split off 3 out of 3 Void Rays perfectly there. He's honestly playing very well. Your man is playing very well.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that as well. He does lose his top left base and the other one that he was trying to take. He's going to swap to just controlling the bottom right now. Both sides are on a pretty low economy. It's so dangerous for either side. Honestly, I think the next fight decides this game, Kev. If there's a big fight, neither side's going to be able to remax. This is a budget late game. This is not super static, perfect, sterile trap end game or anything like that. It's kind of like, hey, next fight, that's going to be probably the game winner.
This feels like one of these days where we are waiting for the DreamHack Masters Europe to start, but there is still Nice against... I don't know.
Go, Joey.
Yeah, one of those bangers going on. It's always on 2K atmosphere as well. The only thing that's missing is that pylon in the center of the map with 17 batteries around it.
The butt always game. Oh my god. He's like, I'm gonna. It's 4 base. You know what's good with a 4 base carrier push? 17 shield batteries outside your base. I'm like, what? Who does this?
And then in the end, we lose all of our bases, and the fight comes down to the center of the map because there was a pylon and a bunch of batteries there. Raynor is going to try to take the base on the top left side. Nice, going to push in. Nova's kind of whiffed there, though. He misses the first lurker as Raynor moved it in time. And the second one only takes 1 hit, so he's able to save it with the Queens. How many spellcasters do we have? We've got 4 Vipers as a feedback lands, but it lands on the Overseer. Okay, we just need to rely on Power Bombs and Infestors, and then I think we're golden.
Sorry, I think Nice has really increased the High Templar count. I think he's done a great job of that. So, you know, there's so many Vipers. Before there was 6 and a couple Infestors. There's only 4 left alive, but it's good to make sure you feed back and still have some Storm left over for the Corruptors, which right now, 15 Corruptors, first 10 Void Rays, 7 carriers. And it's going to be 10 carriers in a moment. There is not enough anti-air for Raynor, and he's got no gas in the bank. I mean, what's he got? 6 Queens, a Hydra, 20 spores spread across like 8 bases. Nice could choose to just fight, and if he commits to a push literally anywhere with these 10 carriers, 10 Void Rays, I think he wins the game.
Well, Raynor is going to see the Void Rays move towards the top left as he has Zerglings near the Zalnak Watchtower. You're definitely not wrong, but it all comes down to the interceptor count, right? Will it stay up? Will the interceptors be able to be deployed all at the same time? Rico is being used towards where? What? Where?
He recalled to the bottom right. He's going to clear up the lurker and try to dive on this base, perhaps. Top left, not that important for Nice to defend. It's a very important area for him to deny from Raynor, but this bottom right base is also very important for Nice to establish. So Nice does need, I mean, right now he's got such an advantage in the army, I feel, but it's hard for him to know that, right? You don't know how many more Corruptors there are. Raynor is actually so gas-starved, but now that he's up on soon to be 6 gas geysers, he will be able to start banking up.
But you definitely bang on when it came to like 20 spores, sounds like a lot. But if you have to split them all the way from the top left till 3 o'clock on 2K atmosphere, and it's not that much. There are a lot of games like this where wherever you look, there is that wall of sport crawlers. There are 7, 8 sport crawlers, multiple layers of sports. Reynor really doesn't have that. He does have quite a bit of money in the bank, but it's a bit deceiving because these armies are obviously way more expensive than the bank that Reynor currently has. So we are really in no position to take a bad fight. We're gonna just need some excellent Viper control, and once more, obviously Nice does have server preference. Didn't think Reynor would need it, but if I would know it's a 27-minute game and it came down to a couple of Vipers and High Templars, I kind of wish Reynor maybe had slightly better ping.
Indeed, it makes a big difference with the feedback dance, with the Vipers and the High Templar. Nice has cleared a bit of creep up. I'd like to see him push through the middle more and kind of just, you know, it's so funny because it's the point where it's like, hey, you've played cautiously all game. Can you just know what I know and see what I see and just play like a baboon and headbutt through the middle now? Because, you know, that's going to win you the game. But you can't know that. You don't know what Reynor's banking. He is... Oh, man.
Void Race going first. I'm actually very happy that the Void Race didn't go for the Brood Lords there. Parasitic Bomb lands a couple of great updocks. This is a good fight for Reynor. We get 2 carries for free. And look at those para bombs. Jeez Louise, the splits earlier Nice were so damn good. This time around, those were ruddy splits, mate. I just give up big. Yeah. I'm just like, all right, it's happening. The Voids are dead.
I did not like that fight at all for Nice. Going in so far ahead with the Voids, then pulling them back, then going... You know, he pulled the Parasitic Bomb into the middle of the army, tries to recall, but the Nexus was already finished. These High Templar, at least he realizes these High Templar right here. And that is kind of wasted supply. Remember, every bit of supply matters in these late game scenarios, and Reynor coming a bit closer. The units lost tab now is actually a little in favor of Reynor. Reynor's also banking money. Nice economy has not really been great for a while, and he's still just transferring down to that bottom right, not really making any plays, and slowly adding Mama a few more carriers. It's going to be a very big carrier army, but Reynor's adjusted his composition accordingly. He's going to get up to 27 Corruptors in a moment, and that's enough to one-shot carriers.
And we've got the good air upgrades now too, right? These are not squishy Corruptors anymore. The Corruptors already have +2 air carapace, and we're working on +3. These Immortals, I want to say, are going to have a hard time with a couple of links, but the barrier saves them for now. I think that what Nice did there is a mistake that a lot of Protoss players have made, where it's like, you kind of want to attack, but then the moment you realize, like, oh, they have Power Bomb, they have Abduct, you disengage. But this was like the worst case scenario, because now you took an insane amount of damage on your army, you lost 2 carriers, and you didn't actually commit to the fight. While I was with you, if you would have just committed all along, except the fact that, okay, 1 carrier is going to get abducted, 2 carriers going to get abducted, but you just let the rest of the army catch up with those abducted carriers, and then you fight, you full send it, and you're like, all right, this is it, win or lose, but here we're going to go for it. But the indecisiveness is what kills a lot of Protoss players, and now we just donated 2 very expensive units, took a lot of hull damage on all the other Void Rays, and got nothing done, like absolutely nothing done.
Decisiveness with those timing attacks can often be key. It's part of why the 10-minute timing became so popular and so effective, is because it was this one moment where it was like, hey, it doesn't matter what's happened. In the plan is this kill timing that we're going to go for really decisively with all these pieces well set up for it. And the Zerg players were having a nightmare with that for a long time. And now we find ourselves in a late game that is drawn out. Reynor looking for a bit of value. The High Templar. Ooh, yeah.
That's sick. How many kills? 26 kills.
Not bad, not bad. There's no Tempest anymore, so Nice doesn't have any chip ability. I think just always having a couple Tempests is nice for that. You know, ability to chip away at your opponent, gives you a little bit of value, bit of annoyance at your opponent. But right now, it's really slowing down. And yeah, how do you fight into this? Well, there's only 3 Infestors, I guess. If you could push through the middle, Reynor's army is kind of split, right? He's got Broodlords split on both sides. I kind of mentioned earlier that it's dangerous to split your army too much, but Reynor is somehow defending both sides of the map at once, and I really feel like that's a recipe for disaster against a Protoss who just shoves in.
I'm a lot less worried now than I was before that little skirmish happened on the right side. At that point, I completely agree with you that if Nice would just get his units together and he would just realize that there is actually kind of a lack of sport crawlers and that his army was simply better, it would have been very dicey for Reynor. Like, it could have been so hard if all the interceptors actually would get out and Nice would just keep on going, absolutely try to end it. Now the game has slowed down. Raynor has actually got a gas bank again. Before we had like 200 or 300 gas, or maybe 800. Now we're getting close to 4k. We've got +3 armor on the Corruptors. Like at this point, the Corruptors are so damn good against the carriers that I don't even think the carriers are that intimidating anymore. And in a weird way, in a very anticlimactic way, I think Raynor has pretty much done everything he needs to do, unless we take the worst fight ever, as Nice is getting close with his army on the right side, but at this point it just becomes so hard, and that's a bad spot for Nice to fight.
That's the worst spot for Nice to fight. The High Templar going around the ledge, all of his carriers get abducted, and a parasitic fungal combo goes down. The Void Rays not really fighting for most of that. They come in now, but already a lot of the Interceptors have gone down. The Void Rays very afraid to commit in here, but they absolutely have to in a scenario like this. But all the carriers have lost their fighting power. And Raynor with a fantastic defense. Corruptor Brood, the Infestors throwing out some juicy fungals.
Yeah, but that is a very good fungal. Void Rays have all used Prismatic alignments, and Nice was kind of waiting until the very last moment to use Prismatic. That Viper does get picked off, but Nice knows that he is just running out of steam after losing the Mama Ship, losing all the spellcasters, and Raynor secures the 2-0 lead for the RotterdaM Admirals here in the playoffs of the Casters Civil War. But that was a whole lot closer and a whole lot harder than I thought it was going to be, Figgy.
Indeed, mate. Obviously, this was the match we were not supposed to win. Nice made a really good account of himself, and he was very close. I mean, Raynor's economy got really messed up. We saw how awkward it can be to swap from a Hydra army over to the Broodlord Infestor, because there's always that moment you've got like 20 Hydras and you're not sure how to trade them out. And then, you know, Protoss pushes, you're down 30, 40 army supply. Ooh, got to be very scary. Nice does go down. You guys are up 0-2, which does mean you only need one more. Is it time for you to feel some confidence, Roddy, or are you still a little worried?
I'm always a little worried. These are the playoffs, Pick. A lot of crazy things have happened. You guys did beat us 4-1 in the regular season. We obviously expected Raynor to beat Nice. I just didn't think it was going to take 33 minutes, but I think the next 3 games are all very... I think we can win all, we can technically win any of the given 3. Even Kalazur. It's going to be a bit of an upset, but I absolutely do believe that he's got some spicy builds, and I'm sure that he's feeling good after getting that clutch victory against Benny and the boys in that deciding Game 5. But it's far from over. I'm not celebrating yet, Pick. I also love you too much to do that. These are the playoffs. Like against Ben, I can be as mean as possible. He deserves it with his Benny and the boys. And Lek lost to Afro a couple of years ago. But I love you too much for
that. Indeed, dude. Well, I still have faith. I felt like obviously these were 2 of the matchups that if we were going to lose 2 games and win 3-2, these are the 2 games we were going to lose. I still think my boys, Cure, Clem, a Laser, are packing heat. They are ready to kick some butts and tear some nerds' heads off. Not that they're going to be easy matches. As happy as I was with the lineup, a lot of these matchups were somewhat marginal. I think all of our teams are so even. When you're looking at the lineup, you're like, oh, here's my perfect lineup. There's still a lot of matchups that could go either way. You're like, I'm slightly favored here, I'm slightly favored here, I'm heavily favored here. Here's one that I'm massively unfavored in, but he gets their best player off the board. You know, it's that sort of thing. So I feel like you're often looking for a 3-2, 4-1 if things go well.
Wardy, I guess since these are the playoffs, if we take a 3-0 lead, is it just over at that point? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No wasting time. No
Diego,
wasting time,
Diego joined the lobby and I was whispering him a little bit. I was like, let's do it, Diego. Let's close it out, baby. Send Clem back to bed. And then he's like, see you on the other side, buddy. All right, so Blackburn TVT, the exact same match as we had in the regular season. In that regular season, Cure went for Reaper, Bunker, Fast Expand, No Scout. And Kellis was like, did he really just do that? He wrote it in the Discord. And then MaxPax replied, he's like, I think he's pretty safe. It's like the last thing you ever want to hear when you're like, someone was being really greedy, and MaxPax's like, he was pretty safe, man. Diego's balding. We'll see what this game has in store for us.
Oh my. All right, dude. This is going to be it. Blackburn, we're going into it. It's going to be good.
In the bottom right side, same time, same spawning positions as in the regular season. We're looking at the main base of the man that gave us that final 5th game victory against Benny and the other boys, secured the W. That was his first win in the regular season. But the regular season doesn't matter, it's for plebs. Real stats, peak in the playoffs. And I think this man is going to peak in the playoffs. He can send us into the round of 4 if he can get the W here. It is the Brazilian, American, Dutch Terran player, Calazur.
Part of the Republic of Brazil, Denmark, Denzil. It's a good place, of course. Hailing from the Republic of South Korea. That's right, down here in the bottom left side. He is a pretty pink, beautiful, sexy Terran. It is the War Pig, Kua.
What does Calazur have to do with Denmark, Pick?
Him and MaxPax joined forces, man, in the Nation Wars tournament, right? So it's a new country, right?
Oh, you mean in the 2v2 tourney?
Yeah. Then again, I guess Italy and France as well, right? Because Raynor and Clem played together.
Yeah, the little sneak peek. Okay, what is... I mean, Calazur already said earlier today in the Discord, I'm gonna cheese the hell out of him. This time around, Cure is SCV scouting. This is something he did not do in the regular season. I think this is one of the things that's inspiring Calazur to do this. But it's a full wall off. Now, Pick, if Cure sees this, is he immediately somewhat concerned? I mean, he is switching it up, Factory, high ground.
Yeah, he's already planning to play a pretty safe opening. So he should just be very conservative with his Reaper and maybe check for a proxy with his SCV. But right now, his SCV is queued to build a command center. His Reaper's moving across the map. He has no idea what's going on. And guys, this is back to Kelazur's roots. When Kelazur was coming up as a player, he was your typical 3-racks Reaper ladder cheeser back in 2015, 2016, big. Every single game.
Okay, Cure actually gets the first shots off, but we can set the trap.
No,
we can
run.
set... No, Diego, what was that?
Oh, he's gonna get it! He's gonna get it! Oh, no, he's not. Damn it. Run. No. Yes. Yes.
There's another slow zone. We can take a shortcut. Okay. Cure is still, by the way, just dropping a CC now on the lower ground. Isn't that a little crazy?
Yeah, I think he might just think it was a second Reaper or 3-racks. I mean, he'd probably already queued that up, I guess. There's not that much else he can spend the money on. He doesn't know it's 3-racks Reaper. So Calazur's strategy, it has a really strong second and third wave because of the... No, you wouldn't be crazy enough to do 3 barracks Reaper, but he's got such sustained Reaper production. He's actually got a really strong 7 and 10 Reaper timing.
Yep, well, here we go. We're gonna get a couple of shots up on the command center. I'm sure that Calazur is very happy to see that CC is there in the first place. And I kind of like that grenade as well. You got a couple of shots up on the Hellion, but Cure did a good job in repairing that Hellion immediately. Cure has sent all of his units back to the low ground. Calazur even throws down a scan as he's also expanding. Here we go, Reaper skirmish. This is where the grenades... Oh, we lose a Reaper immediately. That's not good.
Hellions have that beautiful splash damage, and oh my god, Cure just goes for broken slaughters. Calazur's Reapers, all but one go down. 5 Reapers for a Reaper and a Hellion, Kev, and Cure not going to be taken out by a nasty 3-racks.
Wow, that was not ideal Reaper positioning. It feels like Calazur maybe is a bit nervous or something, because he already misclicked earlier, right, on his side of the map when his Reaper hopped to the low ground, and that was very questionable Reaper positioning. Obviously, it's always hard to fight Reapers and Hellions at the same time, but at one point, like you said, that second wave, the third wave, it could actually be very gnarly. But that was... Whatever it wasn't it.
Indeed. Couldn't have said it better myself. That was not what he was looking for. Cloak Banshees coming out for Cure. Always a good choice to go for something cheeky. Something like a Cloak Banshee is very hard for a player who's on 3 barracks to deal with, especially when he's still dumping all of his gas into more Reapers. So Calazur is not trying to go, okay, how do I get back to some semblance of a normal game? He's saying, apparently round 3 of the all-in is Mass Reaper with some Cyclones thrown in for good measure.
I almost wish that we would have never gone back to that back alley into the main base with the slow zone. After we got the initial pickoff on that SCV, and we were also expanding on our side of the map, I kind of wish that he would have just stuck around in that position and maybe get another kill and just get delay after delay as the Reapers go for it one more time. They were very clumped up. He does see this little push coming. At least we have a Cyclone, and Cloak is not quite done yet. Can we get the kill? Unfortunately, never lucky. Reaper's gonna hop into the main base, though. This gets something done. A lot of very healthy Reapers. Oh, lucky timing on the tank, though.
Tank will come out. Yeah, Reapers ain't going to take that out, and they will be going down. Banshee does come back. It's only got 1 kill so far, deep in the red, but the Reapers once again fall. You can see the units lost tab. Remember, those Reapers are worth so much gas. Oh, my lord.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a disaster game. Unfortunately, didn't get the kill on the Banshee either. And the timing on the tank. Imagine if that tank is only halfway done. Then we can take out a Hellion and the Reapers can kill a couple of SCVs. Cure turned all the way around. At this point, it's a 32 army supply against 15. It's Marines, tanks, and a low HP Banshee and a healthy Banshee. Moving towards the nature of Kalazur. And what does Kalazur really have? Not a whole lot. We don't even get the kill, I think. We don't get... Okay, we do get the kill. At least we killed 1 Cloak Banshee. But there is more where that's coming from. At least we have a bunker. We can repair the bunker. 1 scan would kill that second Banshee too. That Banshee's the only high ground vision he has. Would be nice to kill it. Come on, kill it.
Yeah, definitely worth. Gonna have to scan it, so... Just wanted to ensure he gets the kill, I guess. It does go down. Third command center is almost finished for Cure behind this. But, oh, Tank's trying to shove forward. And it's going to take a 1-for-1 trade as Cure. He's got still those SCVs there to repair, which is really annoying for Kalazur.
It's good for Cure as well, right? Take a 1-for-1 trade when you're obviously getting closer and closer to where you want to be. Interference Matrix goes down on the last tank of Kalazur. We do have a Cyclone lock on. The Cyclone gets the kill, and we actually kind of save our own tank. Can we keep saving our own tank? Oh, it's going to be hard. That was actually very good for Kalazur. He's still in a world of trouble, but I think that was about as good as he could have done anything.
Indeed. Cyclone will take out the Raven Cure. I think it's time to just chill. Obviously, he's just saying any trade's a good trade because I'm already ahead. So the more we fight, the less chance you have to recover from this very compromised position. But I do like this pullback. Viking control, tank Cyclone control. Kalazur is down 14 workers. He's building Marines, a lot of Marines. Do you think Kalazur just tries to do a Doom drop all in from here?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do something desperate, like dropping a 3rd CC. That seems to be off the table, so that's never going to work. I'm not exactly sure. We have Stim. I guess we do get Combat Shield, and then we just make pure Marine tank, and we hope for an absolute miraculous fight. We're gonna pick up a couple of Marines and tanks, and indeed try to drop into the main base. Cure is already anticipating that as the Vikings are heading towards the bottom side of Blackburn. Yeah, whatever Kalazur does is most likely going to be the wrong choice. I'm still kind of impressed with the way he defended that. I know he's still very far behind, but he honestly made all the correct calls there with the perfect lock-on and great Cyclone Micro. And the Medevacs do sneak into the back of the main base. He's going to drop on top of that tank. We're going to unload some Marines as well. We can maybe get Stim here. If we cancel Stim, is there hope?
Well, I mean, I like the idea. I think this is a great strategy to play if you hate long, slow games, or if you're way behind. Kalazur, of course, being way behind, trying desperately to get something done. But the Interference Matrix, the Raven, so good for busting these sort of positions. Just being able to Matrix one of those tanks, jump on top, and of course, please repair the Stim. Please repair it.
Down to 40. Down to 30.
You are!
Oh my, this is... It's actually gonna get cancelled, right? Oh my god, it's so close, but it's gonna die.
Come on.
No Stim, baby.
QR! Buddy! I don't think this changes that much, but come on.
Well, it's a little harder to end games if you don't have Stim, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is, dude. It definitely is. I mean, I think Cure and Dream, obviously, both kind of a bit frantically running around trying to get home after their matches at Tasteless LAN Party. But I do feel like, you know, I'm hoping to the gods we can get through this match and I get a bit more chances. I believe they're both playing from home now. I think they've settled in. So we'll see Cure going around the top with those Marines. He does like to hide in that top right of the map. Big pack of non-stim Marines. He will have stim and shields finished at a nice early timing of maybe 12 minutes 30. So super crisp stim shields, mate.
I mean, Kalazur is working on +1 10 minutes into the game. Also not something we see in most of the TVTs. Curious army is going to get revealed by one spot of Marine of Kalazur. Kalazur throws down a scan. He obviously does not know that Kier did not prepare his tech lab and that Kier does not have stim there. I mean, Diego's is going to try to sink this one out, but economically it's been a bit of a disaster ever since the Reapers just did not get done what he was hoping for. Hanging in there, though. Hey, maybe, you know, Blackburn can be a good turtle map pick. I don't mind turtling if we're down 2 upgrades and 17 SCVs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the play from here for sure. Viking tank. I do like a Viking tank focus, right? Kind of play it almost like biomech. You actually, what you can do here is Kelazur, and it's really, I know no one would think to do this usually. But you can basically say, oh, I'm playing biomech. So he could actually play like single eBay. Think of the Marines only as extra support and just go straight for like gases on the 3rd, get a 2nd factory really early. Which he's already got, by the way, I think. Yeah, he does. And just basically build tanks and Vikings. And if you never let up the tank Viking production, use all your gas for that, you can absolutely make a comeback. So yeah, he's already going for a 2nd starport. This is actually exactly what Kelazur is doing. So he is going to go super like late game oriented and just mega turtly.
I don't hate it. It is like trying to catch up with just doing the exact same thing as your opponent, or even still trying to make any plays when the sensor towers are up. It's all kind of pointless. Surviving is still going to be hard. That one Raven is still alive, and that one Raven has a lot of energy now, so auto turret could go down, matrixes. But the Vikings are going to show up, and who's going to get the better initial skirmish? It seems like it is Cure, but felt like there was some potential there, but the Raven soaked up a lot of Viking shots.
I mean, Kelazur was about to overtake on the Viking count, but he just wasn't quite there. And the Raven soaked up a volley. There was an interference matrix on 1 and an anti-armor missile. So that was the fight that he really needed to win, because now he doesn't win it. He's got to use all of his scans just to stop these tanks sieging on his face. This is very irritating for a Kelazur who's already on 3 bases up against a Cure going up to his 4th command center. So Cure's got a lot more flexibility, a lot more room to breathe. Kelazur, on the other hand, is the player who could just die if he gets caught out of position even a little.
Okay, this Viking skirmish should go a little bit better, as Cure still has a lot of units on the other side of the map. Kelazur has like a 5-for-1 trade there, and Cure also misrallies a couple of Marines. I mean, we're hanging in there, Piggy. We're down 50 supply, we're still down in upgrades, but we've got sensor towers, we've got tanks, we've got Vikings, everything that makes TVT great, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I always root for the guy that's kind of dead here. Obviously, in this scenario, I'm like, yeah, it would be cool to see him fight a little bit harder and then just still die. I obviously want Cure to finish this off. Cure is very methodical. The army coming in on the north, mostly Marines, only 1 tank, but I think he gets enough angle, and there's just not enough fodder in front of those tanks, so Kelazur will lose at least a few of his guys. Overall, a pretty good hold for Kelazur, though.
Yeah, man, he lost 2 SCVs there, and sure, lost a couple of his own Marines, but we didn't even have that many to begin with. Cure is probably getting a little bit annoyed. It's like, mate, can you get out of this game? But Diego is just hanging in there like an absolute champ, producing 2 tanks at a time, still has the Viking lead, and like you said, it's basically biomech at this point. Like, yeah, we're still making some Marines, we're trying to get some upgrades, but sick hold. And it's not like Cure's got 7 bases, right? Cure can make 1 more questionable attack, but then it becomes a kind of an even game.
Yeah, definitely has to treat this seriously and methodically to finish it off. By the way, shout out to Diego for prioritizing transformation servos so his Vikings can land faster over +2 armor for his Marines. Because he's like, Marines, like, I got a handful of them, but he's not really building them. He's playing mech at this point. It's tank, Viking, mech. Super cool.
I want to say good scan, but unfortunately there's only 1 tank in range of all those tanks. Of Cure Command Center gets straight up killed, I believe. I don't think that was a cancel. But we do still win the Viking skirmish. We had 1 Liberator, but that Liberator unfortunately got picked off. It's a shame that we lost 400 minerals there in that command center, but I guess we can't play perfect over here.
4th base and 5th base are both up for Cure. Kelazur, by the way, only has 4 barracks. How cute is that? He never even built the 5th barracks. As we said, he's not that focused on his bio at all. It's all tank Viking for Kelazur. He's kind of playing this sort of interesting style, and I almost wish Cure had just gone more medevacs and was just dropping all over the place. Yeah. Or because the thing is, having Vikings is only good if you have more than your opponent. If you have like 2, 4, 6 less, it's like you might as well have no Vikings. So right now, you can't be playing Kelazur's game of let's just stand off with tank Viking. That's not going to work well for you. You need to find a bit of movement to utilize those extra Marines and upgrades. And here we go.
Tanks are in range. Oh my goodness, Q seems to be a little bit indecisive. Ends up losing a couple of tanks. That Liberator could be god. Like, come on, use your Vikings, Diego. You have so many more Vikings. It's a shame that we lost a Liberator there. The supplies are even, Pig. I never thought I would ever say this. This is what I love about the cast of Civil War. The fact that there really is team spirit and people are not just playing for themselves. I think if this was a 1v1 in an online cup, Kalazur would have left like minutes ago in this game, but he knows that the boys are watching, he knows it's a team effort, he knows that we're on match point, and the fighting spirit is so strong, and suddenly we've got a game on our hands. Like, I never thought this would turn into a competitive game again, but here we are, Diego with all the Vikings, all the tanks. Cure has to be a little bit annoyed that this is happening, and it's not like Cure is losing at this point, but he needs to be seriously careful.
Well, he doesn't have 85 SCVs. He doesn't have extra orbitals. He didn't build any late game infrastructure until now. He's just started Ravens. So I do have to question whether he's taking Kelazur seriously right now, because it doesn't feel like it, right? It feels like, come on, man, just leave. Like you said, and normally you'd be able to do it, but Blackburn's a good turtling map. And right now, he's built a lot of Vikings, but winning this next Viking fight is everything. It is. If Kelazur wins that fight, Kelazur's straight up ahead.
21 Vikings against 21 Vikings. Here we go. Cure had a couple of Vikings trailing in from behind. The Liberator splash damage. Now the Liberator will at least soak up a couple of shots. Kalazur is slightly up in the Viking numbers. He's still slightly up, 12 against 9. Let's not get too carried away. Let's not get near those Marines. I mean, the Liberators have been a bit reckless, but what they do is soak up some shots, right? And it does allow Kalazur to win the Viking skirmishes, and that means that Cure can't really keep on pushing. Cure is building a ridiculous amount of sensor towers, by the way. I feel like that's his way of telling Kalazur that he's got him surrounded, but I think Diego is perfectly fine with where he's at right now, given how this game started.
Cure does try to drop this bottom base. Diego just stims over, deals with it. And I don't think he ever really needs to go 3-3. Diego's still got that tank advantage. He's still got the Viking advantage. Cure is going to try and siege this base on the bottom.
Okay, Cure siege first. And there's still that Raven as well. A couple of extra Ravens going to show up, drop a few interference matrixes. Kalazur, let's cancel that. Yeah, you can't really lift it. That's kind of problematic. If you stay on the ground, you die to tanks. If you live, you die to Vikings. I'm not sure if we can do this. 5 Vikings on the way at the same time for Kalazur, and Cure is producing 6 at a time. It's okay.
+1 ship weapons as well for Cure. So he's adding some upgrades. He's adding armor as well. Cure does have more money. Finally, he's making extra orbitals, which makes your life so much easier. Like, if you're ahead and you're not actually killing them, just get extra orbitals, get into the Ravens. The Raven tech is so huge. He's only got 3 Ravens right now. And I get it, you kind of want to win the Viking battle before you go heavily into Ravens. But as it is, Kelazur is like, I know what this game comes down to, dude. If I ever lose this Viking control, I know I'm probably going to lose the game. But he's hanging on to it. And I remember, I mean, I've been using an old game of Kelazur playing TVT versus Hero Marine for an example of how to kind of counter weird late game situations in TVT for ages, because he's one of these few players who, if he's in a bad position with bio, whether he's playing against mech or in like this game he's behind, Kelazur will just hard swap into tanks Vikings and just say, okay, as long as I win this fight and don't waste money on any extra BS, no 3-3 for my bio, nothing like that, I can absolutely make a comeback here and fight it out. And Q is just like, dude, this is so weird to see someone just stop building Marines, mass Viking tank, and it works on this map especially.
30 Vikings for Kalazur and 16 tanks. Cure's got 12 tanks. Obviously, the real challenge here is getting on one more base up. That anti-armor missile is big. We're gonna need some Marines here. I don't know if we can take this fight, Kalazur. The Marines are gonna come in from the top right side. Seems like a pretty good Viking fight here for Cure, finally. He had to wait for it a little while. Now we hope that Cure gets a bit carried away. Cure's not paying attention. We stim, we kill Vikings. That is good. As that skirmish for the command center on the top right side. Now Kalazur turns around. He feels that after that little Viking, after that Marine engagement, he can win the Viking war. It's very close. We just need to get our hands on that base in the top right side, which is not going to be easy. That was a bit sloppy by Cure, leaving the Vikings like that.
Indeed, right after winning a fight as well. Kalazur is still in a dire position. I mean, there is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases for Cure. And Kalazur, of course, is just trying to secure his 5th and struggling to do so. These tanks on the north being a nuisance. The Viking and now Ravens being added in, +2 ship weapons also coming in here for Cure against just +1.
Okay, the Vikings of Cure are looking for a couple of pickups. A little bit risky there. There is a missile turret finishing up as well. Missile turret is going to get a couple of shots off. I don't know if that was really all that great for Cure, and this is obviously where that smart service upgrade comes in real handy for the Vikings of Kalazur. I mean, we've done it. We have established a 5th base. We have less SCVs, which means we're going to always have a bigger army. And it's very obvious that Cure is probably molding a little bit about how this game is going. Does drop a few interference matrices. He wants to boss this location. Diego still has 1 tank and a couple of marines to keep this planetary safe for now.
Yeah, the missile turret's helping out as well, just controlling enough space. Cure cannot get in there. Cure is taking more command centers. He's up to a total of 5, which is not that good. Kalazar actually has more orbitals than him. And look at the bank for Cure. It's not as high as it probably should be. He doesn't have that overwhelming late game. He does have much better Viking upgrades starting to stack up though, and that could be the deciding factor.
Yep, and he's going to land another very big anti-armor missile, and apparently interference matrix. That one Viking just flies forward, but Kalazur is once more winning another Viking fight throughout this game. They have lost 49 and 50 Vikings respectively, but I guess Kalazur has just built more. They're both on 5 star points. I'm really surprised. If you look at the map, you kind of think that Cure would be sitting on 10k, 7k, right? But none of that is happening. Diego does need to pay a little bit of attention. Rave is going forward. That missile turret, though, is godlike. Careful with the Marines. Here we go. Crazy fight happening, Pig.
Oh, this is insane right now. The interference matrices out of Cure, though, are being so crucial. It allows him to win the tank duel, and I think he's got 2 tanks versus 1 still. He does. He wins the tank fight. Kalazur down 30 supply right now. He's invested so heavily in the Vikings, but he never crushed the fight the way he needed to. As you said, it was still even Vikings going down at the end of so much of that. A lot of tanks starting to shuffle over to this side of the map, but he cannot lose this planetary. Kalazur needs to push him back from this position.
If only we had that one Liberator. We're gonna go for another Viking fight. We have dropped an interference matrix in a couple of the tanks. I feel like there should be potential to hang in there just a bit longer. And Kalazur is gonna push Cure back one more time. But this command center is in serious trouble, and there is nothing we can really do about those 2 tanks that are just shelling away. Now that one Liberator that we so desperately need shows up, we need to protect that Liberator. Obviously, Cure is gonna go for that Lib immediately because he knows that that is the one that's going to kill his tanks. And I do think that Cure has pretty much finally done it. Diego, though, with some amazing fighting spirit, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be enough.
Ooh, fighting hard from behind, dude. We are seeing 2 maps in a row now where the underdog player gets in, a surprising fight. You know, they really put up a hard effort for themselves, but in the end, it looks like the veteran is going to be coming out on top in both of these matches. Cure denying the 5th is huge. Kalazur trying to fall back to the next line of defense. He's trying to re-expand to that bottom center base. However, I'm pretty sure buildings show up on sensor towers, right? Yes, they do.
And he's gonna see the army as well. Scan goes down, so that one tank that Cure left behind is able to get a couple of shots off immediately. Kalazur should be able to get one. No, he does not get one more shot off, so he ends up losing another one. Yeah, the supply at this point is starting to look very sad and very one-sided. Great effort, though, by Diego after what was honestly a disastrous start. And this game could have ended at minute 5 or 6 when he was being pushed by those tanks. Really hang in there like a trooper. And at one point, even gave me a bit of hope. But in the end, Cure gets the W for the War Picks. And we've got a series on our hands, Piggy.
Indeed. Took a bit longer than I would have liked it to. Second wave of the Reapers got stopped. I was like, sweet and nice, quick confidence booster. But you know what? I don't even care, Kev, because we have 2 awesome matches on Europe coming up. It is going to be between Clem and MaxPax on Berlingrad, and then Harstam and a Laser over on their map, which is going to be what? Glittering Ashes, right?
Yep, that is correct.
Ooh, yeah. So, do you think MaxPax is ready for a little bit of revenge, mate?
Yes, I do think that MaxPax has been a little bit unlucky in the 2 TVPs that I remember from him, where he went up against world-class Terran players, Clem and Hero Marine. Both games, they just kind of ended before they started. And we all know that as a Protoss, you cannot have a bad first 5 minutes against the likes of Gabe and Clem, because at that point, these guys, they just run away with it. Their unit control is too good. They have such excellent game sense. So if MaxPax can just make sure that we don't lose 12 probes against the Hellion drop early on, or we don't lose 12 probes against the first 2 Widow Mines and then run into a tank in a bunker, then I think we have a real game in our hands. And also, I think you mentioned it the other day, I'm not sure, but there was that one game between Clem and MaxPax on Berlingrad where MaxPax was super dead, and at one point he's like, all right, I'll do nothing. I'll sit here on 3 bases and I'll make carriers. Clem had 7 bases. Carriers won fight after fight, then ran on top of the production and somehow won the game. One of the most undeserved victories I think I've ever seen. I'm sure Clem thinks about that game every now and then when he lays in bed.
Yeah, man. He was like, dude, I thought I got past this after King Cobra. I thought I learnt my lesson after King Cobra knocked me out of the EPT EU weekly. But I don't think Clem's making too many mistakes versus carriers at the moment anymore. After that game, would have had him shook a bit. I think he ended up winning the series, but it was like it should have been, way better for Clem. That map, he was up 60 supply, losing to carriers. I've seen a lot of Terrans lose maps to carriers recently, funnily enough. And, it's kind of weird to see the different approaches, because we've seen, I actually thought Hero was playing a perfect carrier game versus Maru in GSL the other night. And then he decided to just stop building disruptors. And he was like, nah, Zealot, Stalker, Tempest is the swap. Turns out, Kevin, I did learn from that series, Marines, Ghosts, and Vikings beat Stalker, Zealots, and Tempest. Did you know that?
Shocker. I want to say I love your portrait on the European server, Pig. All about it.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's Justin Bieber. I like it. It's a pretty good one.
But why are you rocking the chubby Justin Bieber portrait over here?
What can I say? I'm a believer, man. I'm always a fan, not ashamed of it. I just like what I like, and I think the music's really catchy, good for the soul.
Alrighty, round 4 of the first match of the playoffs of the Casters Civil War. This fantastic tournament that was organized and brought to you guys by Wardy. I've had so much fun casting the game, so much fun watching the games, and I'm really excited to see what today has in store for us. It's going to be a long but glorious day of StarCraft, and hopefully a long day for my team as well. On the bottom right side, we're still up to 1. We just need to win 1 out of the next 2 games, and hopefully this royalty can get the job done. The Prince of Denmark outside of this tournament, representing Sidestorm Gaming in this tournament, part of the RotterdaM Admirals. My second round draft pick, it's MaxPax.
And he's facing off against my first draft pick. That is right. It is, of course, Team Liquid's young Frenchman, the man with the big baguette. It is the young Clement.
I mean, at this point, Clem also has to know that he cannot get away with these cheap Terran victories anymore. Proxying starports, dropping Hellions. What is this? 2 barracks? Is this Euthermal? Are we going for the Bomb Cloud build? What's happening over here, Pig?
Haven't you seen? That's not the Bomb Cloud anymore. He changed it. Euthermal has rebranded Bomb Cloud as it's where he floats his main out now. He's going and he's retconning Bomb Cloud. I'm upset about it, man.
Yeah, I heard you rant about this where you're like, that's not the original Bomb Cloud. Like, it used to be different. Because he used to just bust people open, right, with some sort of a weird opening. And now
it was like 2 racks Marine. I think you just walked across like 8 or 10 Marines, and like people would just, they'd just like lose 10 probes and be way behind.
So we're gonna open up with a bunch of Reapers. Now, Specs is obviously gonna have somewhat of a hard time figuring this out. You don't want to let this bunker go up, but there's not always something you can do about it. But hey, we have a quick Zealot. If we have a quick Zealot, are you gonna send it to the other side of the map? You're gonna work on that SCV. I'm surprised that he is...
The bunker's kind of exposed, so if he sent... I think because he caught it early enough, he feels the 1 probe can stop it from building. But it can't actually, if the SCV runs circles enough, the Reapers should be able to get it up. Clem's got to be careful. 4 more hits for that SCV to die. Probe will go backwards. There is a command center on the low ground, so the Zealot definitely has a juicy target available to it. Clem didn't turn his Reapers around yet.
Yeah, MaxPax needs to protect the probes in the main base, though. Has not lost a probe yet. He's maybe going to lose 1 probe now on the low ground. Zealot is going to start working on that SCV. And these are the kind of games where MaxPax normally peaks. Let's not lose our Stalker, of course. Let's not do anything wild. But hey, we're already getting a little delay on that command center on the other side of the map, so I don't hate it.
Yeah, as the second Marine comes out, Clem should be able to micro this because he doesn't need to micro much on the other side. I was going to say he can just leave the SCV inside the bunker. Don't get fancy. You're not
One more SCV kill. MaxPax.
Oh, Clem's already been a bit fancy. He lost the repairing SCV, which I'm a little annoyed at. That was super unnecessary. That being said, he's already got rid of the battery healing.
I'm actually surprised that he uses battery overcharge this quickly, but I guess MaxPax really just wants to get rid of this bunker. Overall, pretty lovely early game start. Movement on the Stalkers is pretty cute. At this point, no salvage? Is he not going to salvage the bunker?
Oh, he's trying to get as much damage. He wants to overwhelm these Stalkers if he can, but of course, yeah, getting that, getting the 75 minerals back does hurt. Clem now is going into the Cyclone, or he will momentarily when the Tech Lab finishes, but the Oracle's already on the way across the map, and he's only got 3 Marines.
Yep.
3 Marines, one of them wounded, does not beat an Oracle.
Nope, I actually am really starting to feel this for MaxPax. We have a little worker advantage. The Reapers haven't done a whole lot. Oracle on the other side of the map is going to find some initial success. Pulsar Beam has been activated. Marines have no stim, so Clem is going to lose some mining time. Clem is going to lose a few more SCVs. Finally, MaxPax has a start that I think he can absolutely work with in one of these high-profile PVTs in this matchup. It doesn't get much better than this, Maximus.
Indeed, this looks fantastic for him. 24 probes, or 38 probes, sorry, versus 24 SCVs is pretty horrendous. Of course, there is no third base on the way just yet. There are still Reapers that could be annoying going across the map and hopefully denying the third or something. But Oracle can hunt those down as well. You got to be really careful with your Reapers on the map. And as Clem in general, you've got third barracks up, which is awesome. Factory cancels the Cyclone, the second one. I mean, do you just go for a giant bio tank push? How are you going to play this out as Clem?
Let's not lose our Oracle. Can we break that lock on? Yes, we can. Yeah, I think Clem basically has one attack, right? One big stim. Obviously, it's important for MaxPax that we get batteries up, that we can keep track of the army. The one downside of going Stargate into Twilight is that Blink is a little bit later. Like the first time that Clem stims, it's going to hurt. But all that MaxPax needs is one good hold. We've got a couple of Stalkers here. Cyclone locks off. I mean, is Clem really gonna... I'm actually surprised that Clem is willing to throw away these units this quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to throw them away, but I feel like Clem should have waited for Marauders and stuff to show up. Because this army for Clem is not going to get it done, right? Or, well, Battery is going to finish up. Just kill that Cyclone. I actually think this was still good for MaxPax, even if it was a bit ugly, because now Clem's follow-up attack is a lot weaker, because he just lost so many units.
Absolutely. Agree with you there, Kevin. I think he was hoping to catch MaxPax being greedy behind this, but this was only single Oracle. This was not 3 or 4 Oracles where you kill 1 or 2. And Clem, I think, trying to catch MaxPax off guard, doesn't get it.
Go back. Chill, MaxPax. Yeah, like, it wasn't pretty. It was a bit ugly. And if this was an even game, then that was obviously a good trade for Clem, right? Because MaxPax lost a lot of Stalkers. But it's not an even game where MaxPax just has such a big economic lead. MaxPax had a dream start. And Clem basically was gearing up for that one big attack where the first stim, or maybe when 2 tanks siege up, the first stim is going to hit like a truck and you have overwhelming amounts of firepower. At this point, Clem really doesn't have that anymore. He just lost the majority of his Marines. MaxPax is now going to have charge for the next fight. He's going to have a silly amount of gateways. We're looking at a 20 worker advantage. I mean, it's the cliche to say if anyone can bring it back, it's Clem. I never count Clem out in any game, but this is about as good of a start as MaxPax could ever hope for against Clem.
Indeed, tagging the army, seeing it coming. Still building SCVs is Clem, and a third gas. Remember, there's no starport. He's saying no healing, just Marines, Marauders pumping out 2 Marauders, 4 Marines at a time, tanks building 1 at a time, but the Stalker's already wearing it down. Clem cannot afford to be losing this, and 2 Marauders already falling just for shields. So efficient for MaxPax.
It's too early for Clem, man. Clem is not awake yet. Thanks, Marty, for giving us the opening match. Clem past 2 p.m., that becomes terrifying. Clem at 7 p.m., woohoo! Clem at midnight, best player in the world, but Clem at 1:33? Yeah, I mean, what is... Starport is going down 7 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. He's off 2 orbitals. If you would hide the name tags here, I would not have guessed that this was a Clem game, mate.
Indeed, it's not looking good for him at all, man. T-Rex Reaper opening just didn't find enough. The single Zealot, I think, really threw him off his rhythm, slowed down his momentum early on, losing his repairing SCV. at the bunker was huge. He just got a bit too greedy trying to micro 2 places at once, which you can't do this early in the morning, mate.
I know, like at midnight, we know you can do it, Clem. He would avoid those stalker shots, out micro the Zealot at home. At this point, it just all kind of went down south. Couple of Zealots going to show up in the natural, and this is already going to be so hard for Clem to deal with. A few Marines and a tank is not going to be good enough. MaxPax also winning that fight in the center of the map. Tanks are not sieged up yet, and this could very well be it, the fight that sends the RotterdaM Admirals into the semifinals, where Goat and the gang is waiting for us. Because Piggy, the regular season was yours, but I believe in the playoffs, my boys have successfully peaked.
No, indeed, this is looking real, pretty much over for Clem. This is real dominating for MaxPax. The Oracle got in, did great damage early, defended the early pressure just with ease, and now overwhelming force field, proxy gateway, all of it. MaxPax unable to handle the 2 barracks Reaper build, and MaxPax just crushing on through.
Yep, Clem is still microing for whatever he's worth, the last few Marines, but his army just kind of sucks. Clem knows it, doesn't have the numbers anymore, doesn't even have the upgrades, doesn't have really anything going here. And MaxPax is being a little bit reckless, but it's okay to be reckless when you can smell victory and send us successfully into the semifinals. And he also gets a revenge on Clem that did take him out in the regular season very convincingly back then, off to a great start with the Hellion drop. This time around, the start was heavily in favor of MaxPax, and I was really surprised to see that first move out by Clem that didn't quite work out. He is trying, but MaxPax is booming, man. He's on 4 bases. +2 is finishing up. We are chipping away at the orbital. RotterdaM already said a couple of minutes ago in the Discord, well, I guess all my preparation for Elaser can go into the bin, because he knew where this was going, and this was heading towards a victory for MaxPax. GG! We have done it. Let's go. Come on, the boys. Love it, Pig. Sorry, mate. Love it.
You know what? Our rees have been heard. It is what it is. Time with a great victory over Dream, mate. You got this one here as well. And I got to say, honestly, when you guys create that upset, I mean, I knew when Raynor managed to take down Nice, barely, I was like, oh, we're in trouble now. But for realsies, man, it's been good. It's been fun. And I knew that the winner of this match was going to win the whole thing. So a good chance for you to deliver a bit of, a little bit of humble pie over to Katz. He's been there spying on us, studying the build orders. But time for you to kick his ass, mate, and show him what's what.